let me ask you two questions. When was the last time you felt genuinely at peace? Not relaxed, not distracted, at peace. The kind where your mind is quiet, your spirit is settled, and you're not waiting for the next crisis. If you can't remember, that's the problem. Second question. When was the last time you had an honest conversation about money? Not a budget meeting, not a stewardship sermon, an honest conversation about what's coming in, what's going out, and why you're stressed about it. If your church hasn't had that conversation, that's also a problem because peace and money are two of the most avoided topics in faith communities. We preach about both, we rarely practice either. And when both are broken at the same time, faith doesn't feel far, it feels impossible. In episode 57 of When Faith Feels Far series, today we protect what matters. Let me set this up. Welcome to the Clarence Stowers Leadership Podcast, a podcast about becoming 1% better every day. And now your host, yours truly, Clarence Stowers. Welcome back, and I'm Clarence Edward Stowers Jr., and this is episode 57 of When Faith Feels Far podcast series. Last week, we talked about starting over on purpose, new beginnings, and the 4 non-negotiables to protect everything you build. Today, we go deep on 2 of those 4, peace and paper. Chapters 13 and 14 of my book, When Faith Feels Far, Protecting Your Peace and Protecting Your Paper. Now, fair warning, this episode gets practical. I mean, real practical. And the money conversation might make you uncomfortable. Good. Discomfort is where change starts. Let me tell you what we're dealing with. Today, we split the episode in 2. First half, peace. What steals it, why we let it go, and how to build a wall around it. Second half, money. While the church avoids talking about it honestly, why that avoidance is hurting you, and what stewardship actually looks like when your finances are tight. 3 insights, 1 practice. Let's go. After we sold the building, I lost my peace. Not all at once, but gradually. 1 worry at a time, 1 sleepless night at a time, 1 anxious thought at a time. And I noticed something. The things stealing my peace were not bad things at all. Some of them were ministry, some were relationships. Some were commitments I said yes to because I felt obligated. But they were costing me more than they were giving me. At the same time, money was tight. And financial stress has a way of contaminating everything. See, you can't pray with focus when you're calculating whether the next check will clear. You can't worship freely when you're wondering how to pay for household things. Peace and money, both broken, both avoided, both killing me quietly. I knew something had to change. I just didn't know that protecting both would feel so much like saying no. Let me show you what I learned about peace first, which leads me to my first insight. You locked the front door tonight, set the alarm, check the windows, but did you check your mind? You left it wide open for anything that wanted to walk in. Every anxious thought, every unfinished conversation, every obligation you said yes to out of guilt. You protect your house, you protect your car, but the thing that runs your leadership, your life, your marriage, your health, your faith, you leave it unguarded and call it being available. Peace is not a feeling, it's a foundation. And yours has cracks in it you have been stepping over for months. Now, here's the shift that changed everything. I stopped seeing peace as something I found and started seeing it as something I fought for. Peace is not a vacation. Peace is not a candle and the worship playlist. Those are nice, but peace is different. Peace is deeper. Peace is an infrastructure. It's the foundation that everything else is built on. If your peace collapses, your life collapses. Your marriage suffers. Your creativity dries up. Your health deteriorates. Your faith shakes. Everything you build sits on top of your peace, which means protecting your peace is not selfish. It's the most responsible thing you can do. Don't believe me? Okay. Philippians chapter 4, verses 6 and 7, Paul wrote, "Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all He has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything we can understand. His peace will guard your hearts and minds." God's peace guards, but you have to cooperate with the guarding. You have to identify what's attacking your peace and build the wall. I call them peace thieves. They're sneaky because they often look like good things. A ministry opportunity that costs you sleep every week. A friendship that leaves you drained every conversation. A commitment you said yes to out of guilt not calling. Good things become peace thieves when they take more than they give. So I started auditing every commitment, every relationship, every obligation. I asked one question: is this giving me life or stealing my peace? Anything that consistently stole my peace got a boundary, not a grudge, a boundary, a clear line that said, this far, no further. Protecting your peace is not about cutting people off. It's about cutting off access to your mental and emotional health for things that don't deserve it. Write this down. If your peace has no wall, your life has no floor. So, peace requires protection. But there's a second non-negotiable that the church rarely talks about honestly: money. Which leads me to my second insight. See, you checked your bank account before you checked your Bible this morning. Your pastor preached about tithing last month. Nobody in the room, including the pastor, said out loud that they checked their bank account before they opened their Bible this morning. Not because they love money more than God, because when the numbers are tight, the numbers take up all the oxygen. You can't worship freely when your mind is doing the math. And nobody in your faith community is naming that out loud. Financial stress is not a character flaw. It's the loudest thing in the room that nobody in the church will say out loud until now. Chapter 14 is called Protecting Your Paper. And I almost didn't write it because the church gets enough flack. The church gets enough blowback because pastors are not supposed to talk about money. How do I know? Finish this sentence. All the church wants is I know you said money. See, the pastors are not supposed to talk about money, at least not honestly. We're supposed to talk about tithing and stewardship in the abstract. Not about the fact that we're stressed out about bills too, but here's the truth. Financial stress is one of the biggest faith killers in the church, and nobody is having an honest conversation about it. So let me have at it. Psalm 24, verse 1. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it. Now, if everything belongs to God, then you're not an owner. You're a steward. And stewards don't avoid the number. Stewards know exactly what's coming in, what's going out, and what's left. And after we sold the building, Shantae and I had the hardest financial conversation of our marriage. We sat down and looked at every dollar, every subscription, every expense. It was uncomfortable, but it was humbling. And it was one of the most important conversations we ever had because we realized we didn't have a money problem. We had a margin problem. Spending everything while saving practically nothing. And when the crisis hit, there was no cushion. And we found out the truth behind Proverbs chapter 22 and verse 7. The borrower is servant to the lender. Financial pressure makes you a servant to decisions you wouldn't otherwise make. You take the job you hate because you need it. You stay in the situation that's killing you because you can't afford to leave. You say yes to things that violate your calling because the check clears. Financial margin is spiritual margin. When money breathes, faith breathes. Not because money is God, but because when financial stress is occupying 80% of your mental bandwidth, there's no room left for faith to operate. Write this down. You're not an owner. You are a steward, and stewards know the numbers. So, how do you protect both? Let me give you one practice, which leads to my third and final insight. Come to the front of the class. 60 minutes, 2 lists, and the courage to look, all right? You don't need a financial advisor. You don't need a therapist. You need 60 minutes, 2 lists, and the honesty to look at what you've been avoiding. 1 list for peace, 1 list for money, and by the time you finish, you'll know exactly what's been stealing from you, and you'll have its name written down. What I'm about to give you took Shantae and me more than one hard conversation to discover. It'll take you 1 hour. Here's the practice. 2 lists, 1 hour. Part 1. Conduct the peace audit. Write down every recurring commitment, relationship, and obligation in your life. Next to each one, write one word, life or drain. If it gives you life, keep it. If it drains you, ask, is this from God or guilt? Anything that consistently drains you is not clearly from God, gets a boundary. Maybe it's a conversation. Maybe it's a schedule change. Maybe it's a no. You're not mean. You're not being mean. You're being wise. Secondly, in addition to the peace audit, part 2, the money audit. Pull up the last 30 days of spending. Every transaction. Categorize them by need, want, and leak. Needs are non-negotiable expenses. Wants are intentional choices. Leaks are things that you are paying for that you forgot about, don't use, or don't need. Cancel the leaks, cap the wants, and build margin by moving the difference into savings. Why? Luke chapter 16, verse 10 says, if you are faithful in little things, you will be faithful in large ones. Faithfulness starts with money. Faithfulness with money starts with awareness. You can't steward what you don't see. Once the peace thief is eliminated, one money leak plugged, that's the goal this week. Not a total life overhaul, one boundary for peace, one fix for finances. Start there, build from there. So write this down. One boundary for peace, one fix for money. That's the whole assignment. Let me bring this home. Here's what protecting your peace and paper did for me. When I drew the line around my peace, I got my mind back. Stopped waking up anxious about things I had no business carrying. When Shante and I got honest about money, we got our margin back. And with margin came options we didn't have when every dollar was spoken for. Peace and money are not spiritual topics people like to discuss, but they're spiritual realities that affect everything. If your peace is gone, you can't lead. If your finances are broken, you can't breathe. God wants you to have both, not because you deserve comfort, because you need infrastructure. And peace and margin are the foundation everything else is built on. Protect them. Fight for them. They're non-negotiables. They are non-negotiable. Real quick, before I give you this week's practice, I want to tell you about something I actually use. Here's what nobody tells high-capacity people. You can be spiritually sharp and financially scattered at the same time. You're managing budgets at work, leading teams, making calls for other people every single day, but your finances, your net worth, your spending, your investments, scattered across 5 apps, 2 old spreadsheets, and a mental note that says, I'll deal with this later. That was me until I found Origin. Origin is a personal, AI-driven financial advisor that pulls everything into one place. Your spending, your investments, your net worth, your future, all of it, one screen. And right now, with my referral link, you can get your first year for just $1. $1, 12 months, one place to finally see the whole picture. You lead with clarity in every other area of your life. It's time your money got the same attention. The link is in the description right now. Go sign up. Origin, your finances finally in one place. So thanks to Origin, today's sponsor of this episode. The sponsor link is in the show notes, so get it today. All right, here's your practice this week. Do the 2-part audit. 1 hour, 2 lists. Peace audit. Identify one peace thief and build a boundary around it. The money audit. Identify one money leak and plug it. One boundary, one fix, 7 days. And if you want to go deeper, join one of our life groups. Information is in the show notes. We are coming back for part 2. And we have groups that meet online and in person. And you can find out more about that by texting life group, one word, life group, to 33777. And again, the link is in the description. So leave a comment. What's stealing your peace right now? And what would it cost you to cut it? I read every one of your comments. Next week, episode 58, Protect Your Purpose and Your Plan. We're finishing the 4 non-negotiables. I'm going to tell you how to stay true to your calling when everybody has a different opinion about what you should be doing and why preparation is the discipline nobody talks about. I'll see you next week. You've been listening to the Clarence Stowers Leadership Podcast. Join us next time for more insights on becoming 1% better each day and leveling up in all areas of life.